think it's a characteristic of who he is. His mentality, his just approach to things, and I think that mentality translated to the way he played soccer. He's a guy who's committed to doing something. He's committed to putting himself forward on the pitch, whether it was on the pitch or in the military, to keep on driving his personal ambitions forward.
Anthony Novak, number 23, Forge FC.
And then do it to me.
Anthony Novak, number 23, Forge FC, man.
Okay, sorry, one more time.
Anthony Novak, number 23, Forge FC.
Thanks.
Sure thing. Anytime you decide that you're going to leave something you love behind is hard, especially when you've worked for it your entire life. It's always a challenge to convince yourself to move on. But I've always striven towards being a footballer.
Anthony Novak was a man who was about to give up on football forever. His dream of becoming a professional football player was starting to become less and less likely each year. Then, the CPL changed everything.
There was obviously times when I was just feeling like before the CPL was available, I didn't feel like I had a solid connection. I didn't have an agent at the time. I didn't know how to get myself to the next level just playing with the platform League One at the time. So obviously there were moments where I was like, what am I doing? People are moving on with their lives and I'm stuck in this weird gap,
I think I probably got to know him as a player maybe back in, I want to say 2015 or 2016, watching him play in League One Ontario with his club there, Oakville Blue Devils. And then I had the opportunity to work with him on a couple of the All-Star teams. Getting to know him over those 2-3 days of the All-Star games, you got to see a little bit of his mentality, who he was. Obviously, you got to see him a little bit as a player, but more as his personality. And I think that was important as we got into this year and I started looking at him as a possible player for Forge.
I was thinking that if it wasn't going to be footy, it was going to be something as close to it as I possibly could. I can't be bothered working a job 9 to 5. I can't be bothered working for a company that ultimately doesn't care about me individually. And I quit the job downtown, cut the hours, and I applied to the Army. And my mom was unnerved, I would say. She wasn't exactly thrilled about it. The whole reason behind the decision for the Army was it was the next best thing to football. It's really easy to say, oh, never give up on your dreams. Oh, you should always keep pushing for what you want. But if I were to say that, it's not even honest to me, because there were so many times where I was filled with doubt or filled with anxiety or thoughts of obviously leaving soccer.
At the age of 23, and playing with Ontario's League One Oakville Blue Devils, Novak was unsure if he would ever get the chance to make it pro. With this doubt in his mind, he was ready to go down another route instead.
The position I had applied for was I was going to be an infantry officer, hopefully, if I got the position I wanted, in which case I would have been responsible for people on the battlefield. But for me, I was also a little bit nervous because the consequences of the intensity of work is a little bit higher. The next closest thing to football was obviously the Army, just because of the lifestyle and the way works physically, and then also the fact, well, now I actually have something to care about.
On May 8, 2019, Novak officially made his CPL debut for Forge FC, and, in the 3rd minute of the match, scored his first ever goal in the league.
20 air. Krutz inside the 18. Good touch. Novak turns. Fires. Back of the net. 3rd minute of play. Novak. Yes, back.
It was a weird one because I actually grew up as a goalkeeper. I'd always found that scoring goals was more fun than saving them,
Now, with a permanent spot in the CPL, Novak is forging a new path for himself to accomplish his lifelong dream.